Welcome to SCP Refinarium! We're starting off this new year with an SCP game. And why? Because our life is an existential dread, and what's better to encompass that than the SCP Foundation? So this seems to be a game where we play around with the machine. SCP-193? What was it? I'm not sure anymore, but I'm excited for that. Hello, let me introduce you to SCP-1914, that's it. Also known as the Clockworks. This machine can refine or alter objects placed within it, with the outcome depending on the setting chosen. On this intake area, you may choose any item from your inventory to place them inside. I have an inventory, I have a steel cube. Sure. So I will place my steel cube in there. Choose a setting. Click on the arrow on this part of the machine. The rough setting can break an object to its most fundamental components. The coarse setting can dismantle an object to lesser parts. The one-to-one setting can transform an item to an equivalent item with similar composition but different characteristics. The fine setting can refine an object to a higher version. Lastly, the very fine setting can refine an object to its utmost potential without regard to the laws of reality. SCP-914 consumes power. If you don't have enough power, you can place an item here to convert it into energy. Did not know that. Well, let's... So, obviously what I want to do, the more power it will need. And that uses up 50% of my power if I want to make that something very fine. But I want to know what a steel cube will turn into if I make it something very fine. We also regenerate some energy apparently just from existence. So that's a nice thing. Ooh, this is the output area. Once an item is created, you may click here to obtain it for analysis or further processing. What we get? This is the game settings. You can pause, change something, blah blah blah. This is a power bar. Each setting of SCP has specific power consumption, so use the machine wisely. Power will regenerate over time, but slowly. This is the reputation points. You can use these points as the currency on all areas on the map. You can earn reputation points by completing hallway tasks. Reaching 1000, 2000 and 3000 of reputation points upgrades the research level. In turn, this unlocks a whole new category of items and new tasks in the hallways for those categories. Note! The use of reputation points is not available in the current version of the game. Damn it! There's the map, click it. Inventory, I can check stuff. Note! Other areas of the map are still in development on the current version of the game. I already kinda like this. So what did we get? Nanomechanical array. Let's check out the map. Let's see what's going on outside. I kinda love this. Let's check in here. Also known as the SCP-038. Everything tree is a tree with the ability to clone any object that touches its bark. Sure. That's still in development. So that means I cannot go and touch my nanomachines to that. A cube composed of billions of microscopic machines that constantly shift and rearrange and can change from or function on command. Interesting. So the tree doesn't do anything for me yet. Would have been interesting. Research team submit refined objects to the research team. Ah, yes. Hopefully that's also not in here. It's a dating sim apparently. Hi there. The researchers require a steel-like plate and embedded with micro circuits capable of converting mechanical energy into electricity. It is lightweight yet surprisingly durable. I mean, I have that thing. Wrong item. Item disposed? Wait. What do you want? So they just throw away my stuff. Now I don't have an item. Did I technically softlock myself? Hallway? I can find items in there. Oh. method development. It requires a material with extreme flexibility and tensile strength to design a new containment apparatus for SCP redacted. I mean, fractured shards, I'm gonna select them. Oh, wait, I don't want to select them. Do I have them now? I have them now. Okay, so I need to do those. Okay, so you want material capable of generating a controlled gravitational effect to counterbalance SCP. Okay. Capable of adapting to unpredictable physical stats of safety engagement. Okay. Interacting with temporal distortion of... Okay. Seamlessly transitioning between physical states. That probably would have been the thing that I have. A self-sustaining containment trailer. Self-replicating. Capable of bridging the gap between biology and mechanical properties. Hybrid. Okay. Self-reconfiguration. That also would have fit to what I had with the steel cube. Okay, let's just move on. Let's see what else we can find. Oh, that's the SCP that we're working at. That's nobody cares. Material research lab. There we go. Still under development. There's a decaying human body there. I don't like that. You leave that in here and say it's still under development. That's not okay for me. Testing zone. Hi. Oh, hi. Under development. That would have been a good spot to have though, because there can place the materials and they do the things. What's that? 291. What was 291? Under development. So I have 3 spots so far that are not under development. 212. Also under development. There's too much on the map that I cannot engage with. So I only have these 3 areas that I really can do something with. That's a shame for me. Well, anyway, we have the fractured shards. We select them. And we make them very fine because I need to make something good out of those. So that we can actually get to work on some of these things. So let's make this shard something very fine. What is that? Heat exchanger. A compact steel object with intricate internal channels to transfer heat between fluids effectively. It feels warm to the touch when operating. That is not anything that we're looking for, so we're gonna select that. And we're gonna make it coarse. Why do we make it coarse? I wanna break it into its components. That's not what I thought I was gonna get out of that. A chaotic steel formation that resembles a jagged flower with brittle crystal-like extensions protruding in all directions. It crumbles easily but retains its dangerous edges. And coarse granulate. A rough pile of granulated steel particles resembling metallic sand. The granules are sharp-edged and unevenly sized. Okay, let's refine those and make them fine. I was considering 1-to-1 and seeing if we can get like steel powder out of that, which would have been nice. Not what I was expecting that would come out of that. Now we have an articulated action figure. A humanoid steel figurine with movable joints and animal body parts. What? It appears to be designed for display or as a toy. You know what? I want to do that. Also make you fine. Actually, what would be very fine? Let's see what that crystal thing would be if we make it very fine. I don't know. Let's see. After all, I can still break it up. So that's a pulley. A compact steel unit with a built-in wheel and axle designed for seamless tension management. It offers smooth, frictionless movement for cables and ropes in mechanical systems. I'm pretty sure I didn't need that in any way. Let's try it 1-to-1. Let's see what we get if it pull a pulley system into that. Interesting. Self-balancing gyroscope. A gyroscope with an incredibly smooth and precise mechanism. It can balance perfectly on almost any surface. That thing seems like if I placed it in here, make that thing very fine for me, please. Because we need something that can do something with gravitational pull. And maybe a very fine gyroscope would just be the thing that we need for that. I am horrified, but intrigued. What did we get? Living filament. A coil of impossibly thin steel wire that moves slightly when not observed. It appears to grow longer over time and resists being cut or unraveled. I'm gonna destroy the action figure because I'm pretty sure that thing doesn't do me any good. Selected item, you're gonna get course. Wanna break you down. Kinda wanna see abrasive block. In coarse sandpaper-like surfaces grinds down other materials in contact. It usually is heavy and generates sparks when struck. Can we get that thing on a 1-to-1 and I can get something else out of that, please? Because I'm not sure that that is useful for me in any way. I'm not sure that that is useful to me in any way. Okay. Molten residue. A semi-cooled puddle of steel that retains an uneven warped texture. It appears brittle and exhibits strange discolorations across its surface. Okay. Let's make that a fine item. Let's see. I kind of wanna see what happens if we put that growing thing. Steel cubes. Painted magnetized blocks. That's actually a steel cube retains its size and shape but has become highly magnetized. It attracts nearby ferrous objects with notable strength. That is a nice thing. Kinda wanna do that thing into very fine. We're gonna wait here a little bit because I wanna know what that thing does once we put it into very fine. If anything. Let's see. Because it's already a growing thing. It's that does something when we're not looking. So I'm really worried about what's gonna happen now. Because it's really thinking about that. Oh. What? Phase shifting alloy. A block of steel that randomly alternates between solid, liquid and gaseous states. The transitions are unpredictable and can occur without warning, making it dangerous to handle or store. Setting Ultra. I don't have Ultra. But wasn't that like something that I need? Something that can shift between states? I wish I would have found something else in here. So, extremely flexible? Nah. Control gravitation? Nah. Capable of adapting to unpredictable physical states to safely engage with... That might be it? Unstable material interaction. No. Seamlessly transitions between physical states to investigate. Ah. That one. You get the phase shifting alloy. Yes. Yes! We did it! Now I'm down one phase shifting alloy. Which is a shame, but whatever. Take a look at my research team really quickly. Steel-like plate embedded with microcircuits capable of converting mechanical energy into electrical. Okay, that's what you want. I don't have that. And these two don't want anything still to do with me, so we're going back to the drawing board. All I have now is some magnetic cubes. I need more material, so we're gonna rough them up. Give me more stuff to work with. That's not what I was hoping I would get. I have 2 of these now. Okay. What happens if we rough those up? I need more material to work with, game. Broken computer chip seems nice. Solid steel lamp with deep gouges and missing chunks as though violently struck. Its surface is rough and uneven with sharp protrusions. Let's make that fine and we'll see where we end up with that. Very fine doesn't seem to be a useful thing for that right now. I want something fine. A prism, okay. A warp prism, steel cube that has been subtly reshaped into a slightly irregular prismatic form. The overall dimensions are intact, but the edges are no longer perfectly straight. I would love to rough that thing up and maybe get a few pieces out of that. Gimme. I'm not sure what I just got there. Acidic husk. I got 2 of those. A partially dissolved pitted steel surface eroded by unknown chemical reactions. The material exudes a faint acrid odor and leaves a residue when touched. Okay. Let's make that very fine. Whatever the crud we just got there, let's make that very fine and see where the crud we end up with that. Because now we are... Modular rail. A sleek steel track system with pre-installed grooves for attaching and sliding components. It's designed for adaptable assembly in manufacturing or engineering projects. Don't need that. Let's rough up that vomiting thing and see what we get out of that. Got a butthole. A warp plate. A thin sheet of steel twisted and curled into irregular shapes. The surface is uneven and reflects light and unpredictable patterns. That might be something that could be good if it turned it into something fine, because we needed a steel plate for something, didn't we now? We got the cube again! Okay, I kind of want to save up and make the rail into something very fine, because I feel like if we put that thing in and we turn it into something very fine, we might get something rather interesting out of that. And if we end up at the spot that we've already been, we can always coarsen it up and roughen it up, or one-to-one it, which might also be interesting if we think about that. Let's see what we get out of that. Because now we make a very fine rail. We get those chips again. The nanomachine array. A cube composed of billions of microscopic machines that constantly shift and rearrange. It can change form or function on command. It sounds like something we would need, but in fact it is not anything at all that we need. Sure, let's take that rock, and I wanna know what happens if we make you one-to-one. What do I get out of you then? I like this just for the fact that it is... I get that thing. Oh yeah, didn't we try that already? What do I get one-to-one out of you? But I like just games where you just sit down and have trial and error. This reminds me of the alchemy games, if you've ever played those. Scorched slab. A flat scorched piece of steel with burn marks and soot deposits across its surface. It smells faintly of smoke and is brittle at the edges. We got something new. We can work with that. I want to try and see... I should be able to do something fine with the steel cube. Let's go. But yeah, I just love games where you just sit down and mess around a little bit and see what happens after a while. And this is exactly that. What is that? Vibration dampener. That thing a steel block with shock-absorbing properties designed for machinery in high-impact environments. It emits a dull sound when struck. Now what I want to do, I want to do those on verified. I want to know where we can go with that now. I just need to sit this one out and wait a little bit. But that's where I want to go. The next thing that I want to do is go up with... Actually, let me do the scorched slab and roughen that up. Let's just see if we can get more materials out of stuff here. Because we need more materials. Got the crystal again. Maybe we can get you out of rough as well. No, I don't want to put anything in there. That was a mistake. But I'm just interested in crystal shards. Now, those are just the fracture shards. We had them already. More rough. Grind them to powder for me, please. Thermal residuum. A partially melted mass with jagged, hardened ribs trailing off its surface. It feels warm to the touch and emits faint traces of burnt metal. What happens if we rough that thing up a little bit? And we get the abrasive block again. So we kinda just circled back on ourselves. You know what? I'm still interested. There's the chip again. The chip we already worked with. Let's just mess around a little bit. The vomiting thing we also already messed around with. If I can get that puddle again, I'd be interested in seeing a spring. Rusted coil. Okay, let's do the nanomachines on verify now, because we have the energy that we can still mess around with the coil and whatnot. And I don't know how long I want to keep this. I just want to putz around a little bit. I want to show this off. It looks interesting. I love the SCP Foundation, and this is an interesting world that is not yet fully implemented. Hey, you're thinking a long time about what you're gonna do with that thing. Hopefully it's something that I need for a task. Event Horizon Sphere acquired? I should not hold that. A small dense steel sphere that blends light and warps space around it. Objects that come too close or are slowly pulled toward the sphere and disappear, seemingly erased from existence. I should not have that. Right? Did anyone need an Event Horizon Sphere? I don't think anyone needed that. I don't think anyone should have that. No? No, I'm pretty sure not. Might be. Nah. Self-replicating, no. Definitely not a bond there. Self-reconfiguration. I'm pretty sure none of these are what anyone's looking for. But if we had testing, I'd love to test out my Event Horizon Sphere. Let's see what happens if we toss that in and make it very fine. I kinda wanna toss in the Event Horizon thing again and see what happens if we turn that very fine. Will we just explode? I don't know. We might. What the crud did I get there? A kinetic engine required. The steel cube absorbs kinetic energy and converts it into a visible glow. When struck, it vibrates and releases bursts of harmless energy. Definitely interesting, not what I'm looking for. Let's make that thing... I should have enough for that. Yes, we make the coil fine. I wanna see where this one leads us to. A sponge? Permeable shell. The cube appears solid but has gained a porous sponge-like internal structure. It feels lighter and makes a faint metallic sound when tapped. That's for the ASMR people. Interesting. If I do that one to one, what would I get out of that? Everything's metallic because that's the thing that I throw in there. Get the magnets again. Can I get something else if I put in the magnets again? I know I'm wasting some energy. Big goop. Refined ingot. A smooth rectangular bar of steel with a polished finish and improved uniformity. Yeah, it seems like something that we could work with. Thing is, we wanna wait for that. Maybe we'll die. Well, it's time. Let's see what happens if we put the Event Horizon machine in there. I'm honestly horrified about the things that are going to happen. It looks nicer. Reflective singularity acquired. Polished steel plate that reflects not only its surroundings but also scenes that seem to depict alternate versions of reality. Prolonged viewing induces dizziness and nausea. This is, however, very fine only and not ultra. So the Event Horizon thing was better actually. Let's make those things fine. Let's see what else we can get. I'm just putzing around. I wanna see something insane. I get the pulley again. I'm just gonna have to wait for some time here, but my two things that I have on the setting very fine, I'm gonna toss in at very fine again. And we're gonna see what happens to them then. I'm just gonna have to wait a little bit. Time to pull in the machinery and see what's gonna happen now. It's just a lot of waiting for me right now, but I don't want to toss something in there because we could use all of these things potentially. Because I'm not getting a lot of materials right now. Maybe if I broke those things down I would get some material. Maybe I should do that. Once we have one that's ultra and we don't need for a mission. We just see what happens if I rough one up. Oh. Interesting. We have the definitions up there again. Hey, we get the Event Horizon thing again. Let's see what happens if we destroy it. Because we have the energy for it. That is the worst outcome, but I got 5 of them. Hey. Overall, I would say that's not so bad. Okay, next up, let's put that thing in and do it very fine and see what happens then. We have the energy required again. Let's see what nonsense we're gonna get out of a singularity thing. If I also just get the Event Horizon thing, I'm gonna be very sad because it's kind of boring just to get the same thing over and over because we got something else last time. So give me something nice, game. Come on, give me something really nice. That's something new. What the crud am I looking at? Self-replicating core. A smooth steel sphere that periodically emits tiny steel fragments resembling miniature versions of itself. These fragments grow to the size of the original over time, posing an exponential containment risk. But that is what someone needed. That is what someone asked for. Self-sustaining, self-replicating properties. There we go. That's what you want. That's what you asked for. That's what you get. We actually did 2 of these things. It's kind of difficult to find the things that they're needing, but most of these things seem to be just refined stuff into the ultra version and see where it's gonna get you. And honestly, let's see what the pulley gets us. And after that, I'm gonna leave this here, and if you wanna try it out, you can putz around. But let's see where we will end up with a fully refined pulley system. It's time to refine, to verify. Let's see what we get out of this. If need be, we need to one these things a little bit until we get something better or find them. We had you already, the living filament. So maybe let's see what happens if we want the living filament. Because why not? We get those chips again. Also kinda already had those. Let's one that thing again. We need different things to put up there. Already had you. You didn't do me any good, kinetic engine. Give me something new, game. Please. Also had that thing already, so that's also not really that interesting to us. Come on, pick it up. There's something new. Neutron matrix. The steel has been compacted into a neutron-rich crystalline lattice, making it incomprehensibly dense yet stable. It feels heavier than any material of its size should. And it's very fine, so that's good. Now... Oh, I haven't placed it. I'm an idiot. Now, we want to make it very fine. Now we have to wait again. It's time to refine. Let's see what we get out of that thing. Also, if we have an ultra thing, if we want that, will we still be on ultra? Let's see what we get out. If it's the Event Horizon thing again, we will try around with that. But I'm curious to see what we might get. Because it's a lot of just cycling through stuff, because there is a finite number of items in the game. There cannot be an infinite number of items in there already. We have that thing again. That's kind of what I figured where we're gonna end up. Let's see what 1-to-1 with an ultra refined item does for us. We get something new. Is it also dimensional shard? It's also ultra, a jagged piece of steel that appears to occupy multiple dimensions simultaneously. Portions of the object fade in and out of visibility, and handling it causes a mild sense of disorientation or nausea. Not something that we need for anything though. Fun though. Let's try again, because 1-to-1 seems to keep it at an ultra state. That's horrifying. Biometal core. Biometal core! Pulsating organic-like mass of steel with a surface resembling living tissue. It reacts to touch by contracting or expanding slightly, emitting faint metallic breaths. Testing reveals it contains traces of both biological and metallic elements. There's so much to read on that one for some reason. With structures resembling nerves and veins running through it. Attempts to sample the material causes it to bleed molten steel, which quickly solidifies into sharp needle-like formations. I want to point out, that is what we needed. So let's do that. And where is it? Hybrid, right? Biological and mechanical. That's what you need. That's what you want. That's what you get. Have it. So we actually did 3 of these quests in here. We have 5 that are still missing. I could go and try and finish those off. But honestly, since there is not much more to do in this game just yet, other than finishing everything off, I'm gonna leave this here. Because if you cannot do anything with a reputation, the rest of the map is not really open as well. I will leave that open if you wanna explore all of the items that are in this game so far and all of the things that you maybe can do with the research team here in the lab. Then go for it. I'm looking for, once this game has more stuff included and to offer, because I enjoy this. This is a fun one. This is great, and I love the little bit of expansion on SCP lore and whatnot with these little fan games, or the interpretation of the SCP world of what could happen in this universe. And overall, the one thing that would really make my life easier would be SCP-038, because if I can duplicate any item that touches its bark. If I use that to duplicate one of my ultra refined items and then I just cycle them through 1-to-1 and they stay on ultra, that way you could get to the end of all of these quests rather quickly. So that would be the fastest way to get through that at the moment. So that maybe is something that they also should try to, I want to say, remedy or at least limit somehow. With the 1-to-1, the thing's always staying at ultra and giving you eventually the items that you need, because then the searching for stuff kind of gets lost. But also I don't think they want to make it impossible to get to everything, so it might also be that they want to keep that just to make things easier for you to explore the possibilities. I don't know, there's still so much missing and apparently so much more to come that I'm actually looking forward to. So yeah, we're gonna leave this one here, and I hope your 2026 will not be rough. Wait, I need to play something in here. It will not be rough. It also will not be coarse. 1-to-1 would be good enough already, but I hope that it's fine, at the very least. And that your warped steel plate will turn into some refined ingots. That's my wishes for you this year.